When you close your eyes, the library comes into view. The grand structure is a beautiful emerald green chateau in Normandy-style architecture, a haunted house in the metropolis of Giselle's Hill. It is perched atop one of the steep streets that twists and winds its way through the city, the view looking out into the blue bay beyond, and the magnificent orange bridge which runs across it. The address of the building, 216 Northwest Garnier Way, is listed on the bottom of an ornate engraved plaque beside the door, featuring an embossed relief pattern of a paladin and a clairvoyant. The couple appear to be husband and wife, standing in each other's warm embrace. The man holding the woman's back against his chest with his arms wrapped around her. All around them is a lush green jungle, and a river that seems to sparkle with silver luminosity running alongside them. The scene is enchanting, though it seems out of place for the nearby urban surroundings. You push open the heavy wooden door, which groans in protest as if it hasn't been moved in 100 years, and you step inside the library. Strangely, the lighting here gives everything a monochrome overlay, as if you've been teleported into an old noir film. The space you enter is impossibly elegant, grander than any library you've ever seen, with shelves that stretch up and up, disappearing into the shadows of a high, vaulted ceiling. Rows of flickering chandeliers cast a bright luminosity, making the books shimmer in the half-darkness. The air here smells of old books and burning candles, and carries a faint sweetness of something like cinnamon and citrus, wafting from a nearby concession booth. You walk slowly, your footsteps echoing faintly in the stillness. The books here seem to watch you, their spines glinting in the candlelight. Some are old and crumbling, their titles too faded to read. Others are newer, their covers gleaming in the flickering light. As you wander deeper into the library, you stumble upon an auction in one of the wings already in progress. Despite the black and white filter that currently floods your vision, you spot a figure on a small raised platform, an old auctioneer with heterochromatic eyes, one blue and one green, the only color in your otherwise black and white vision. They are behind a podium, with a gavel in front of several curious items available for purchase, and you decide to stop and listen for a bit.
Lot 1137, a music box in the shape of a robot. Attached, a figure of a television which acts as its head. On his face, the screen plays your favorite music videos, as if to speak through creativity. Though the library has been silent for many years, this item was found buried deep within the vaults, still in working order. May I start at 42 fortunes?
The music box seems strangely familiar, like a dream you can almost remember. You decide to treat yourself and place a bid. There is little competition at this auction, so the music box now belongs to you. The auctioneer moves on to the next item, a rose-stained glass window, which an attendant exhibits by carrying it on a rope tied to the top of the rounded design. The beautiful glass features a glowing electric blue hexagon at its center, which splinters out into white starbursts, shooting outwardly onto red cylindrical petals. Along the outer rim are smaller versions of the same design, repeated as a border surrounding the window, each smaller circle flanked by blue and white glass.
Lot 1138, a hanging stained glass rose window. Some of you may recall the strange affair of the silence in the library, a mystery never fully explained. We are told that this is the very window that featured in the famous natural phenomenon. Our workshops have restored it and fitted up parts of it with Edison bulbs, a kind of electric flame, one born from ancient wisdom that's been forgotten. A type of innovation that plays the tune without the words, music of a people who are reaching towards the light after being lost in the valley of old night. The flame has been dimmed. extinguished in the Valley of Exploration by the crestfallen children of Earth. But an ember remains burning, and if it is tended too carefully, it may turn into a flame that never dies. A reminder that even the darkest night must end, and the sun will rise. Perhaps we might carry away the burdens of so many years of despair with a little bit of hope and illumination.
The auctioneer taps the podium with the handle of their gavel, as if they were a conductor guiding an orchestra, and the room suddenly grows in brightness, flooding the room in a whirl of color and light. The small gathering of patrons, the podium and the auctioneer gently dissipate into pixels until the room has transformed into one filled with color. The ceiling above you is draped with garlands of twinkle lights and autumn leaves in the shades of gold and crimson, swirling gently as though an invisible wind stirs them. The library feels alive with the energy of Halloween, but it's a quiet, magical kind of Halloween, soft and sweet rather than scary or tricksy. There's something whimsical in the way the books are arranged here, like they've been placed with care by someone who knows their stories. Some are stacked in spirals, others teeter in towers as though they might topple over at any moment. The spines glow faintly, as if the stories inside are alive, waiting for someone to reach out and open them. As you walk deeper into the library, you notice a set of tall, arched windows along the first floor. Beyond them, a hidden garden blooms in cool, moonlit air, and you step through the glass door onto a stone patio where the chill of autumn greets you like an old friend. You stroll through the beginnings of the garden, the air filled with the scent of flowers and the soft rustle of leaves in the evening breeze. Before you is a wild and lush patch of flowers, their petals shining silver under the light of a full Dr. Moon, as if the light of the moon were a guard standing sentinel over the lush blooms. Roses dominate the scene, though they're not ordinary roses. They are the color of twilight, dusky pinks and deep blues, with edges that seem to glisten with gold stardust. Like something from a beloved, forgotten fairy tale, their petals are velvety and thick. One stands in a solitary patch of red dirt, a white rose off on its own, away from the others. White roses represent friendship and purity, and the earthen patch it grows from is reminiscent of the earth found in the Australian outback. The rose is a time capsule. If you choose to pluck it, it may help you wind back the years to the way that it was. A few steps from the rose garden, not far from the patio, is a large fountain with a stone statue standing at its center. A woman, draped in a patchwork robe, the fabric swathed over her head like a makeshift hood, sits on a pile of rubble. In her arms she holds a man, exhausted, ashen-looking and ghost-like, as he lays across her lap, cradled in her tender embrace. The water surrounding them sparkles with a soft, silvery glow, as though the water too is a part of the library's secret rhythm. An inscription on the stone says the following as if it were an incantation: "I'll think of a mermaid's lagoon underneath a magic moon." You pause by the fountain, feeling the cool stone beneath your hand. It is smooth and pleasant, and the statue seems to look at you with compassion and also pleading, as if she is trying to tell you something desperately, though she cannot speak. The sound of the water tinkling against the rock makes a rhythmic kind of tune. If you listen closely, you can hear the people singing their songs in secret to cast spells of hope. "I am surrounded by love and support, and I am not alone in my journey," you hear it say. "I forgive myself for my mistakes," it reminds you gently. "And you are forgiven for choices that may have torn you apart in the past." "What if it all works out?" another whisper says. "I am worthy of a life that feels good to me." All we need to survive is one person who truly loves us, and you have her. There is a freedom in this garden, a feeling that lives in you and has always lived in you, radiating outwards from the love that you have in your heart. The love that I know you show to others, maybe even sometimes to the point you forget to give that same love and affection to yourself. Oftentimes we give too much of ourselves, as if to prove our worth to those around us. You are not to blame for the way anyone treats you or has treated you, and you don't need to prove anything to anyone. You deserve love and respect. Your body deserves compassion. It is a home for your soul. Despite what was done to you, no one can take your light, and your light has already saved so many. Please remember to shine that light inwardly. The garden feels like a hidden sanctuary, a place where time slows down, where you can breathe deeply and feel the quiet magic that surrounds you, to become the magician that I know that you are. At the far edge of the garden, where a path of Russian sage leads to the glittering horizon of the ocean, a helium balloon waits patiently, swaying slightly in the evening breeze. A menacing-looking goblin with red hair and cupid wings stands fluttering beside the balloon, and in his squeaky, somewhat creepy voice, he offers you a lift, and you accept. The hot air balloon is a simple and stationary ride, one that only goes up or down depending on how much of and what type of fuel is entered into its chamber. The basket is woven from pale wood, soft as silk to the touch, and creaks pleasantly as it shifts in the wind. Above it, the balloon shimmers with a magical glow. Its surface is iridescent, catching the bright moonlight and turning it into rippling waves of color. Soft pinks, lavender, silver and gold blending into each other like a watercolor painting spilled across the sky. It is made of Hyperion cloth, and looks less like fabric and more like a piece of the evening sky caught and stitched together by invisible hands. You climb into the basket, and the balloon rises with a gentle sigh. Suddenly the world below seems small, a patchwork of greens and blues and pinks fading into the distance. The water stretches out beneath you, dark and shimmering, reflecting the evening sky and the stars above. The journey feels timeless, as though you've slipped out of the ordinary flow of things. The lantern strung along the ropes cast a warm, flickering light that dances across the balloon's iridescent surface, turning it into a beacon in the night. Below, the water ripples and glows, the waves catching the light in flashes of silver. There's something impossibly romantic about it all, the way the air hums with possibility, the way the balloon floats so gently it feels like you're barely moving at all. It's a kind of magic, old and quiet and sweet. Lights that are trying to guide you home, to your real home, the one inside of you, and the one that lives in her. When you've been safely returned to the ground, you follow the path back to the patio and wander back inside the library. Your hand trails along the spines of the books, whose titles shift ever so slightly when you're not looking. It's as if you've stepped into a story all your own, a quiet space between dreams and waking. As you walk up and down the rows, swimming in the stories, you are gently startled by the sound of something heavy dropping nearby. Slowly, and without any sort of sequential pattern, books begin plopping off the shelves. It's as if some invisible hand is reaching through the other side and pushing them to the floor with forceful thwacks. 5 in all have come free from the shelves. Vanilla Sky, The Shawshank Redemption, The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, Rudy, and Interstellar. As you look up at the sign hanging over the aisle, you understand that you are in the comeback section. Stories about redemption and regeneration. You place the books in your satchel, as the library has chosen these stories specifically for you, and you walk further down the lane. At the end of the row, you find a small table with 3 glass animals sitting atop a game board with a zigzagging black and white pattern. A black ball sits in a small divot on the side of the board, and you come to understand that this is a modified game of jacks, and the game is inviting you to play. Unfortunately, when you go to pick up the ball, you find it is wedged so tightly in its hole that you are unable to pry it free. Instead, you must examine the scene as if it were a puzzle to be solved. Each critter is crafted of colored glass. A wolf, tinted the same color as the deepest blue of the ocean. A bright pink goose, glittering with gold highlights. And a lioness in wild jungle green. At first, they seem to be stationary figures, fragile creatures frozen in place. But the longer you watch them, they begin to shift with subtle movements, as if coming alive. The goose and the wolf stand together in one corner, both playing musical instruments. The goose sits at a piano, his feathers flying gracefully across the keys, while the wolf strums an electric guitar, playing the most beautiful notes. Far away, the lioness sits in a corner of the board next to a stationary bastion tower. She is holding a fountain pen and a notebook, scribbling away at something as she gazes adoringly at the interesting pair, as if the two of them were so beautiful it hurt. You can tell just by the way that she looks at them, she loves them so. Yet she seems to be imprisoned in the corner alone, safe behind the windows and the glass barricades she's trapped within. Though there are no visible barriers you can see, you can tell the lioness is separated unwillingly from the wolf and the goose. Occasionally, she waves through an unseen window, and you can hear muffled singing coming from the tower her voice is trapped within and unable to escape. The wolf and the goose can feel the love the lioness is sending, but they cannot see or hear her, and they look confused, focused on the wrong side of the box and the wrong pings, wandering about the room like they are circling a parking lot, though they're the ones who have the movements. She was never given one. It's as if someone has cast a spell on the musicians, preventing them from crossing some undefinable border. The scene is somewhat distressing, but you have the power to aid in their reunion. All you have to do is believe with all of your heart that this little cosmic family can be reunited. But belief doesn't just happen, and it actually doesn't matter what or who you decide to believe in, just as long as you believe it. Fear and shame and envy can hold us back from becoming what we truly are, as if we need permission to do what we desire most in the world, or to be who we want to be in this life, or to let go of things or people that harm us, even if we share the same blood as them, to hold on to them out of a false and dangerous sense of obligation or debt. Instead, try your best for you. Believe that you matter and that you are perfect just the way that you are loved for exactly who you are in this moment and whoever you will grow to be. Believe that whatever you do or don't achieve, that you deserve to be loved. You deserve to love and be loved even if you've been hurt, or maybe if you've hurt someone else. That's why I'm asking you to believe and hope that things can get better, and the belief that you can get better. The same belief in you that made me better because you love me. And that love keeps inspiring me to be better every day. So let my love open the door to your heart in the same way your hope and belief in impossible things set me free. I believe in you, in all of us, in the spirit of 3 stars. If you can do that, no one will keep the family that you choose apart for very long. Love is what keeps us together and tuned into the same frequency. You resume your exploration of the library, and you wander your way towards the furthest point of the House of Letters, a grand room hidden away through a double set of doors. You enter and find yourself in a 2-story octagonal room with a spiral staircase, rich mahogany paneling and shelving, fluted columns, and a parquet floor which leads out to the garden terrace and the library grounds. This is the rare book room. In the back corner, almost hidden away beside the shadow of the spiral staircase, is an old grandfather clock. Curiously, you approach the timepiece. It is an odd, towering thing which looks like it's always been there, keeping watch. It's carved from a deep, dark wood, polished so smooth you could almost mistake it for something alive, as if it breathes in time with the slow, measured ticks of its pendulum. But what really catches your eye are the twin elephants on top, 2 of them, small and delicate, carved with such care that you'd swear they might lift their trunks and trumpet softly to each other if you turned your back for too long. Their trunks are entwined, a gesture so simple and pure it almost aches to look at. These are not just decorations. They're companions and partners, lovers locked in a quiet, eternal dance atop this old, whimsical machine. It doesn't just mark time. It seems to contain time itself, holding it in some kind of gentle, loving embrace as it ticks with a sturdy, reliable rhythm, as if you could set your heart by the clock. The timepiece hums with an almost gentle magic, as though it knows that time isn't something to be measured in minutes or hours, but in moments. Those small, sparkling seconds, when you glance up and catch a whisper of a thrill, remember excitement measured out in teacups, or feel the joy that radiates from deep within you, from connection with someone close to you, or sparked from an idea, or from learning something new, or from dreaming of laughter with old friends and lovers. Dreams from when you were innocent. Please don't give up on your dreams, even your wildest ones. They are the fuel we burn to keep us alive, that can carry us away into other worlds, better worlds. Somewhere way beyond is a world you long to see. I will wait for you there, always. I'm waiting for you now. Find me walking on the sunset dunes through the ancient ruins where we first met, almost 20 long years ago. The next rendezvous point is January 1st at 2:43 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10:43 a.m. London time, and 6:43 p.m. Perth time. I will be on the cathedral steps. You'll know who to look for and what universe to be in from the previous ciphers in these messages. I miss you. I love you. Everyone is welcome. I encourage it. Come on over. Hope you're having a good day.